15.2 Declaring a structure. Already you know how to declare an ordinary variable and how to declare an array. Actually, it is in one part. Now you see int age, int age 60. Like that, one statement is enough. But declaring structure is not that. It is in two parts. The first one is declaring structure. Second one is declaring structure type variables. Struct type variables. Here, this is in two parts. Now, why it is in two parts? We must think of. Now, we have to understand some background features. Now, int age. Whenever I ask you to create a variable for storing age, why you are thinking of int? What is the relation between age and int? Whenever I ask you to create a variable for height, why you think of float? Now you got some maturity, you could understand certain features. Now this is the right time to understand. When I ask you to create a variable for age, why you think of int? When I ask you to create a variable for storing your height, why you think of float? What is the relation between age and int? This is the very important point to consider. Actually, I tell you, int is providing a blueprint. Int is provided by the language. Language itself, you are not creating. Language created integer with specific features. Integer means, you know that. It can store, it represents whole numbers of positive or negative, including 0. That is one. Certain operations are allowed. So, integer means, int means you can understand that it is a set of features. It represents a set of features that is like a blueprint, which is created by the language. Now, if you come to age, it is a concrete thing of that type. Concrete thing of that type. Suppose age 11. Suppose you have given, then it can take only integer type value. Integer type value. Certain operations are allowed on this. So, int is a blueprint which is created by the language, and according to this blueprint, you have created the variable. In the same manner, you think of float. Float is a blueprint. Floating point means what are the characteristics you know. It takes a fractional value and certain operations are allowed. Like that, a set of characteristics are there. Now, whenever I ask you to create a variable for height, you think of float. Float creates a blueprint, you understand that. Blueprint, but this is created by the language. In the same manner, if you take an array type is this, and age, that means suppose 5. Actually, this notation I have changed. It can give you a perfect idea. That's why I have written. As per syntax and all that, this one you have to write here. That point you keep aside. And now you see, age. An array is created with 5 elements. 5 elements. Its name is age. Age. So it is a blueprint. It is a blueprint, and in this five rooms are there. That is, it represents that point. Its name is age. So every time, whenever you want to create a variable, you should think of blueprint. Here in this case, blueprint is provided by the language. Now, what we call structure. Structure is user defined. User defined. So for user defined items, you are creating structure. So first one is you have to create a blueprint like this. Blueprint. Your blueprint is different. Your blueprint is unique. Suppose you create your biodata. Biodata, you can store a set of items. Your structure of items are different. The number of items are different. the content of items are different, the values of items are different. It is unique for you. That's why first you have to define the blueprint. Thereafter, the blueprint only, that is called declaration of structure. Thereafter, after blueprint is ready, we have to declare structure type variables. That means first we have to declare this one. After that, this gives the blueprint. Thereafter, this is the reality. This blueprint type of variables, realities we create. That's why it is in two parts. So this is little complicated than that. You should be very careful in creating that. Two parts you have to create, and the first one is declaration of structure. Second one is declaring structure type variables. Now let us see the syntax. Now let us take the syntax. Here is a example, page number 811. Here struct is the keyword. It represents structure. Now report, this is user defined. So now you see, this is the body of the structure. Here you have to write the semicolon. This is the body. In this, in order to represent your report, whatever members are required, all that you can declare. First one you see, char name 20. Actually, here this syntax most compiler do not support. That's why don't write 20 here. Actually, this is a valid notation, but only thing is your compiler may not allow this. That's why in the already will learn char name 20. In that manner you write, and int roll number, int num hours, float waste. Now we see, we have declared 4 members in the structure. Now the first one is name, which can take maximum 19 characters of char type, and this is a string, what you call. Next one is roll number, it is an integer. Number of hours, integer. Total waste, it is a float. So this is structure declaration. Struct, and a label you have to write. The label should represent what it is. So here report, it may be biodata, it may be address, it may be date of birth. So such type of label you have to give, and this is the body. In this, whatever members, these are called structure members, data members. The structure members should be declared here, like you know that ordinary variables declared like that. Whatever you require, all the members, you need not, there is no limitation. You need not think of a particular type and all that. Any type of items you can store. Here you see, this is a string of character type. This is an integer, another integer, this is a floating point. Anything, in order to represent your report, whatever data items are required, everything you can declare here. This is nothing but blueprint. This is like int. This is a blueprint defined by the language. As it is user defined, you are defining. Understand? So this is structure declaration. First we must declare structure. Thereafter, structure type variables, those are the realities. Now you see, int is a blueprint and age is the reality. In the same way, here this is the blueprint. What is the reality? Reality means now we have to struct report. Here 2 words we have to use. Struct report. Then now this is worker 1, worker 2. Now 2 types of variables declared. Struct report, not 1 word, you must use 2 words, whatever label, struct and report. Then such type of struct report type variables we are creating, worker 1 and worker 2. These are the realities. So this is in this manner, structure declaration is in 2 parts. Structure declaration provides blueprint. It consists of members, and these are variables. For this provides the data type. Struct report provides the data type. You have to write first. Thereafter, how many variables you want to create, you may create. That is worker 1 and worker 2 or worker 3, n number of variables you can create. Then what happens? Now with reference to each worker, you have to study that. Now what is that? Worker 1's name, worker 1's roll number, worker 1's number of hours, worker 1's total base. In the same manner, worker 2, worker 3, n number of workers you can declare, n number of struct report type variables you can create. This is a blueprint, this is a reality. Now, structure declaration and variable declaration. Let us see the syntax. Here, it should start with the keyword struct. And here, we have to give a label. The label should represent what it is. So, in this case, workers report we are creating. That's why I named it as a report. Actually, as a matter of convention, it is written in Pascal case. Now, user defined, already I explained this one when we created enumerations, enums, and type def also. Here we use Pascal case. Pascal case means this is Pascal case. If one word is there, first letter should be capitalized. More than one word is there, all first letters should be capitalized. That is Pascal case. For all user defined data types, use Pascal case. Already enums we declared. How I wrote? A week I have written. Suppose type def we declared. How I wrote? Just try to recollect. Type def, float, a real. This is the user defined. That's why I have used a capital letter. So that point you remember. Always you write label in Pascal case. Thereafter, opening brace and closing brace. After that, it should be terminated by a semicolon. This is the body of the report. Then, whatever members you want to declare in order to represent report, all that you declare. Now you want to declare name. What is the suitable one? String. And thereafter roll number. It is an integer. Number of hours. It is integer. Total base. As it is rupees, then it is float. Like that. There is no limitation on number of members or type. If you want, you can keep primary data type, secondary data type, even user defined data type. That means one more structure variable you can declare. So, there is no limitation at all. Whatever data items in order to represent report, all the variables you can declare. These are called members, structure members. Thereafter, with this, we developed the blueprint. Now, thereafter, after blueprint is ready means you must think of like this. We created int. In this case, it is provided by the language because it is built-in. Now, this is user defined. That's why we have to declare. We declared. Thereafter, in order to represent this blueprint, we have to use two keywords in the same manner. Struct report. Report is not enough. Struct is not enough. Struct report, two words we must use. And thereafter, now there are two workers. Worker 1, worker 2. There are 5 workers. Worker 1, worker 2, worker 3, worker 4. Like that, we have to represent. And here, after understanding the syntax, let us understand its characteristics. The characteristics are, it is a user defined data type and it can hold heterogeneous. This is array, you know that, homogeneous. All data items all elements should belong to same type. This is heterogeneous. That means you can put same type or different type. There is no limitation. There is no limitation on the number of members also. Actually, in this case, when you declare a structure, then no memory is allocated. No memory is allocated. It just is a blueprint. No memory is allocated. When memory is allocated, for worker 1, memory is allocated. whenever you declared a variable, memory is allocated. How much memory? That also you can know that. Here you see the sum of the sizes of all members. Now you can calculate that. For char, 20 bytes are required. For int, 2 bytes. For this thing, 2 bytes. And this is 4. Totally 28 bytes are required. So for worker 1, 28 bytes are required. Worker 2, 28 bytes are required. And one more thing, all these are created as one block. This is like worker 1, this is like worker 2. So if you create 100 workers also, only simple single block like array, single block is created. In that you can find worker's name. Here you can find worker's roll number. You can find worker's number of hours he worked, and you can find total waste. Like that, all these items are stored here. One thing you must remember, on the declaration of structure, no memory is created, it's just a blueprint. And on declaration of variables only, memory is allocated. How much memory means? The sum of the sizes of all data members in the structure. That is that, 28 in this case. So worker 1, worker 2. Now you get a doubt. How can we access it? How can we access this? Simple. Now you see little extension. Let us I simplify it for the worker 1, worker 2. Worker 1 name, worker 1 dot roll number, worker 1 dot num hours, worker 1 dot tot waste. Like this, we can represent this. So if you want to initialize, you can initialize also. In order to access data members, this is the procedure. So again, the same thing, worker 2 dot name, worker 2 dot roll number, worker 2 dot number of hours, worker 2 dot total hours. Like this we represent. Just thoroughly understand. It is not like declaring an ordinary variable or an array. It is different. It is in two parts. First one is declaring structure. Second one is declaring the variables. And one more thing, here on declaration of structure, as no memory is allocated, now you should not use any storage classes here. You should not use any storage classes, and you should not initialize any of these variables. That point also you must remember. Why you should not initialize here? Suppose name is equal to Amar. You cannot make. Roll number is equal to 1. You should not make, because no memory is allocated at this stage. When memory is allocated? At this stage. After declaring variables, how much memory is allocated? 28 bytes. The sum of the sizes of all the members. Then this is the procedure. And irrespective of the number of variables, only one block of memory is created. This represents worker 1, this represents worker 2, worker 3, worker n, like that. One block of memory is created. So understand this concept thoroughly. Why we are declaring two parts, you must understand. Already I explained that this knowledge is very essential to understand advanced concepts.